In the NASCAR Xfinity series over 40 years in the sport, there have been many numbers come and go. On any given weekend, you will see 36 to 38 unique numbers on the track, and each of those numbers has a story to tell. Hi, I'm your host Matt, and this is NASCAR Number History, presented by Dogleg Media. In this series, we look to tell the stories of each of those numbers. Who first ran the number, who first won with the number, the driver who visited victory lane the most, and every other driver to grab a trophy in the number. We also mention suggestions provided by you, the viewer. We go in numerical order, and today we look at numbers 5 through 9. If you miss numbers 0 through 4, the Xfinity Series Number History playlist will be linked below. Also, the Cup Series Number History playlist will be linked below as well. Be sure to check it out after this one. But with that out of the way, let's dive into some more Xfinity Series Number History. We start this one out with the 5. Quite a lot of history for this one, but yet there isn't a current full-time driver. Let's jump in. The 5 has won 31 total races with 11 different drivers. It's competed in 821 total races with a 3.8 win percentage. The first to drive the 5 in the Xfinity Series would be Joe Thurman. He would take it to Charlotte in the Xfinity Series first season of 1982. He would finish 16th in the number's first showing. Thurman would make 184 Xfinity Series starts, but only 2 of those would come in the 5 car. The first to win in the 5 would be Jeff Bodine. The man that saved the Hendrick Motorsports Cup Series program would get the 5's first Xfinity Series victory driving for Hendrick. He would win the 1985 season opening race at Daytona in the number. This would be his only Xfinity Series win with the 5 car. And the driver with the most wins shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. It's Kyle Busch. From 2004 until 2007, Busch would win 11 times in the 5. He would have a best points finish of 2nd in 2004, winning 5 times that season. Busch would carry the 5 over to the Cup Series and would find success in NASCAR's top division with it as well. Kyle is by far the winningest driver in Xfinity Series history with 102 wins, so we will be talking about him quite a bit. And then that brings us to the last to win with the number. Kevin Harvick would be the last to take the 5 to victory lane with his win at Chicagoland in 2014. Harvick would win 4 times in the JRM 5 car in 2014, making 14 starts total with it. And now we move on to other winners, and there are quite a few of them, so here they are. Brett Bodine would win 3 times in the 5, all coming in 1985 for Hendrick Motorsports. And then Terry Labonte would also grab 3 wins in the number, driving his cell-phone 5 machine at Labonte Motorsports in 1996. Brian Vickers is yet another 3-time winner in the 5 car. He would win the Xfinity Series Championship in 2003 thanks in part to this 3-win season. Jimmy Hensley would be a 2-time winner in the 5. These wins would come for Samard Racing in 1987 and 1988. Regan Smith would grab a lone win in the 5 car. He would only make 1 start in the JRM 5 car, winning the season-ending race at Homestead. Pretty incredible. And our Canadian viewers will be happy about this one. Ron Fellows would grab 1 win in the 5 car for Junior Motorsports at Montreal in 2008. Mark Martin would also grab a win in the 5 ride. This win would come at Junior Motorsports in 2008 as well, at Las Vegas. And finally, Casey Kane would grab 1 win as well, his win coming at Daytona in 2014 for, you guessed it, Junior Motorsports. And now on to honorable mentions. Menard Bros, Sam, Mason, Monolith, and Obungus mentioned Ricky Hendrick. This is a must mention for this one. Ricky was the son of team owner Rick Hendrick, and his Xfinity Series 5 car is the inspiration for Kyle Larson's HendrickCars.com 5 car. Ricky was killed in a tragic aviation accident in 2004. This is a touching mention for sure that couldn't be missed. And then Marcus, Obungus, JL Productions, The Gamer, and Jordan all mentioned Jimmy Johnson. While Jimmy would never win in the 5, he would rarely run in the Xfinity Series after 2001, so it was cool to see him on a Saturday. It was always a fond memory for me as a Jimmy fan. And then on to the current driver. There isn't a current full-time driver of the 5 in the Xfinity Series. The last to drive it would be Jade Buford at Talladega in 2023. He has made 2 starts so far this season. I wish either Hendrick would use the 5 for their select Xfinity Series starts, or Junior Motorsports should bring it back. It definitely deserves a spot on Saturdays too. And that brings us to the 6. More wins than the 5, but fewer winners. Let's take a look. The 6 has 36 total wins with 6 different drivers. It's competed in 1,013 races, and it has a 3.5 win percentage. And this one will be short, because the driver to first run the number would win that race and would also be the winningest driver for the number. I think this only happened once in the Cup Series, where a driver won in a number's first race. Tommy Houston would do it for the 6 car. The number's first race would be at Richmond in 1982, where Houston would get the win. All in all, Tommy would win 23 times in the 6, running it in every season of his Xfinity Series career from 1982 until 1996. He would collect 24 total Xfinity Series wins in his time. Who can tell me the other number he won in? And surprisingly, Houston never won a championship. He would come close in 1989, where he would finish second. And the only other accolade to mention is last win, and that belongs to Trevor Bayne. Bayne would also grab his last Xfinity Series win and the numbers last win at Iowa in 2013. This win would come for RFK Racing, and man, I need them back in the Xfinity Series ASAP. Make it happen, Brad. And now we move on to every other winner in the 6 car. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. would win 8 times in the Xfinity Series 6. He would also win back-to-back championships in the number in 2011 and 2012. He was an absolute menace in the Xfinity Series. And then David Reagan would grab 2 wins in the 6 car. Both of these wins would come for RFK in 2009. Casey Kane would grab 1 win in the 6 car for Evernham in 2005 at Kansas. And finally, Joe Bessie would grab his only career win at Dover in 1997, driving a cell phone 6 ride for Joe Bessie Motorsports. This was a major upset win, similar to a Michael Jordan flu game, as Bessie was ill the day of the race. And then we move on to honorable mentions. Divine, J.K. Speed, Wisconsin, Marcus, Kendall, Dice, and Skytay all mentioned Brennan Poole's Out of the Groove car he ran at Phoenix in 2022. Eric was a massive inspiration for me to start creating NASCAR content, and to be able to work with him at the Daily Downforce is a blessing. Great mention for such a groovy ride. And then Hot Wheels, Oitzman, Sonic John, Menard Bros, Chris, Mature Storm, and Impact all mentioned Bubba Wallace. Wallace had a wild start to his NASCAR career. He ran Toyotas and trucks, Fords with Roush in the 6 for Xfinity, and then a Chevy to start his Cup Series career at Richard Petty Motorsports. And then on to the current driver. The current full-time driver of the 6 car is Brennan Poole. He has shared this seat this season, but for the most part, he has been the go-to driver. He has ran some pretty groovy paint schemes in his time with it. I definitely approve. Hopefully we see it in Victory Lane sometime soon. Moving right along to the 7, and this one has way more wins than either the 5 or the 6. If only it had had this level of success in the Cup Series. Here is the number 7. The 7 has won 53 total times with 6 different drivers. It's competed in 932 races and counting with a 5.7 win percentage. The first to drive the 7 in the Xfinity Series would be Stuart Huffman. He would run the number in the very first Xfinity Series race at Daytona in 1982. He only made 2 career starts, so finding a picture of him was impossible for me. Then that takes us to the first to win. And the first to take the 7 to victory lane would be Morgan Shepherd. He would take the Whitaker Racing 7 to victory lane in 1982 at Hickory. All in all, he would win 6 total times in the 7 car. Shepherd is a 15-time winner in the series, and we haven't heard the last of him yet. And then we move on to the driver with the most wins. And the driver with the most wins could lose this title very soon, but he currently holds the record. Harry Gant would win 20 times in the 7 car, running it for Whitaker Racing from 1987 until 1994. This is an impressive stretch, as he wasn't full-time by any means in the ride. He was winning in the Cup Series at the exact same time, so this is an impressive stat for Gant. And now we move to other winners, because our last to win is also our current driver. Regan Smith would win 5 times in the Junior Motorsports 7 ride. He would pilot it from 2013 until 2015, where he would finish 3rd, 2nd, and 4th in the standings those 3 seasons. Greg Biffle would win twice in the 7 ride. Running it for Evans Motorsports in 2003, he would win at Charlotte and Atlanta. And finally, Randy LaJoie would win twice in the Evans Motorsports 7 as well. The first coming at Daytona in 2001, and the last coming at Memphis that same season. And that takes us to honorable mentions. Kyle, Hot Wheels, Oitzman, Mason, Devine, AJ, and Dylan all mentioned Danica Patrick. Patrick would show promise in this ride, and I personally believe she was rushed into the Cup Series too quickly. What could have been, perhaps? And then Paint Scheme Guy, Divine, Mature Storm, and Monolith all mentioned Josh Wise. He would make select starts in the Junior Motorsports 7 in 2010 and 2011. He would get a best finish of 6th in 2011 coming at Richmond. And then on to the current driver. And remember how I said Gant could lose his winningest title in the 7 status? Well, our current driver Justin Allgaier could very well strip him of that title. Allgaier has amassed 18 victories in his time with the Junior Motorsports 7 from 2016 until now. He has 2 wins on the season already, and is just another 2 away from tying Gant. Do y'all think he can get it done to become the winningest driver in the 7 car? Let me know down below. And now on to the 8. Not as many wins as the 7, but this one has some legendary drivers to pilot it. Let's get into the number 8. The 8 has 42 wins with 9 different drivers. It's competed in 719 races and counting with a 5.8 win percentage. The first to drive the 8 would be Mike Riley at Darlington in 1982. He would make 6 total starts in the Xfinity Series, 5 of those with the 8. However, I wasn't able to find a photo of him, but that's not surprising. And then on to the first to win. And the first to win in the 8 is a very fitting name. The Intimidator Dale Earnhardt would bring the 8 its first victory in 1985 at Rockingham. Senior would ultimately win 8 times in the 8 car, which is a cool stat. And we aren't done hearing the Earnhardt name either, so stay tuned. And we move on to the driver with the most wins. Our winningest driver would run the 8 for an Earnhardt-owned team. Martin Truex Jr. would win 13 times in the Chance 2 number 8. He would win back-to-back Xfinity Series titles in 2004 and 2005 with the number, winning 12 of his 13 trophies in those seasons. Truex is a champion in the Cup Series as well, showing the strength of the Earnhardt Xfinity development program. Another number where we go to other winners next, because the last to win was with the current full-time driver. Let's dig in. First up is Dale Earnhardt Jr. While he would make this number famous in the Cup Series, he would win 7 times in the 8 car in the Xfinity Series, 1 fewer than his father. Next would be Kenny Wallace, who would grab 5 wins in the 8. He would run the Philmar Racing 8 from 1994 until 1996, where he would pick up these 5 wins. Jeff Burton would win twice in the 8 car. These wins would come with Philmar Racing as well, in 1992 and 1993. Jeff Green would win once in the 8 car. This win would come in 1997 with Diamond Ridge Motorsports. And then David Green would also grab 1 win in the 8 car. This win would come in 1991 with Philmar Racing. And finally, Bobby Hamilton would win 1 time as well. This would be his only Xfinity Series win, coming in 1989 at Richmond for Philmar Racing. And then we move on to honorable mentions. Hot Wheels, Menard Bros, Dice, Titan Iron Wolf, Obungus, Alexander, and Dylan all mentioned Daniel Hemrick. He would run a limited schedule for Junior Motorsports in 2020 with the 8. He would come close to victory a couple times, finishing 2nd at Charlotte and Kansas. All in all, he would put together 7 top 5s in a limited schedule. Not bad at all. And then we move on to the current driver. The current full-time driver of the 8 is Josh Berry. He has won 4 times in his time with the JRM 8 ride. There will be a new driver in this seat next season, as Berry is moving to the Cup Series to drive the Stewart-Haas Racing 4 car. Let me know down below who you think replaces Josh Berry for this seat in 2024. And we end this one off with the 9. This one has had a lot of success as of recent, so let's jump in. The 9 has 49 total wins with 9 different drivers. It's competed in 769 total races and counting with a 6.4 win percentage. The first to drive the 9 in the Xfinity Series would be Gene Morgan. He would run the very first race in the series history at Daytona in 1982. I'm not sure what happened next, but this would be his only Xfinity Series start, so no pictures once again. And then we move on to the first to win. The first to take the 9 to victory lane would be Mike Wallace. He would win at Dover in 1994. All in all, he would win 3 times in the Owen Racing number 9 in 1994. And then we move on to the most wins. And here's one that surprised me. The winningest driver in the 9 would be Jeff Burton. Jeff would win 16 times in the Roush Racing 9 from 1997 until 2003. This was a fun one. I learned something new here, which is kind of the whole point of the series. And then we move on to the last to win. Our last to win would be Noah Gragson, and man, he came close to becoming the winningest in the number. The last win for the number would come at Homestead in 2022. Gragson would win 13 times in the Junior Motorsports 9 ride, coming 3 short of tying Burton. And who knows what's next for Gragson. He could in theory be back in the Junior Motorsports 9 ride after being suspended for liking an insensitive post on Instagram. Let me know down below where you think Noah Gragson will land next year. And now we move on to other winners, and there are a couple champions here, so let's get into it. First up is William Byron. Byron would win 4 times in the Junior Motorsports 9 car, and he would win the Xfinity Series Championship in 2017 with the number. Next we have another champion, this time it's Chase Elliott. NASCAR's most popular driver since 2018 would win 4 times in the JRM 9 and would win the championship in 2014. And then there's Casey Kane. He would also be a 4-time winner in the 9, this time for Evernham Motorsports from 2006 until 2008. Mark Martin would win twice in the 9 ride, winning both races in 2005 for RFK. And then Tyler Reddick would win twice as well in the 9. The first of these wins would come in the closest NASCAR finish ever at Daytona to start the 2018 season. He would beat Elliott Sadler by 4/10,000ths of a second. He would also win the championship that season by winning the season-ending race at Homestead. And then finally we have Marcus Ambrose. The Aussie would win 1 time in the 9 for Richard Petty Motorsports at Montreal in 2011. And then we move on to honorable mentions. Impact and Jordan Polcari mentioned Tony Stewart for the 9. He would make 1 start in the 9 for Kevin Harvick Incorporated in 2011 at Daytona. He would win the season opener that season in the 4. He would finish 13th in his go with the 9, however. And then on to the current driver. The current driver of the 9 is Brandon Jones. He is a 5-time winner in the Xfinity Series, but has struggled in his first season with the Junior Motorsports 9 ride. Do you think that Jones can add his name to the winners list for the 9? I think so, but let me know your thoughts down below. And that'll do it for numbers 5 through 9 of Xfinity Series number history. This was a ton of fun to do, and it's taught me so much again. As always, I'm prone to forgetting drivers. Let me know who I may have missed for this one down below. If you haven't seen numbers 0 through 4, the Xfinity Series number history playlist will be linked below. We will be back next time for numbers 10 through 19. Another 10 number episode. I know you guys love these, so strap in. If you liked the video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. It helps a ton and I definitely appreciate it. And did you know that 71% of my viewers aren't subscribed, but they are returning viewers? If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, what are you waiting for? Be sure to check the community tab of the channel. We do cool little giveaways like autographed merchandise and diecast, as well as updates and polls for the channel. You definitely don't want to miss it. And we also have a Discord server. Find the invite in the About section of the channel or in the description below, and come join us over there for even more fun and learning. We have over 130 members right now, and we have great conversations every single day. And I also want to thank the Dogleg team for all their hard work and helping make these videos as good as they can be. Thank you Dice, Darksea, and The Gamer for all your contributions. They don't go unnoticed. But that'll do it for us here at Dogleg Media. I'm Matt, your host, and you've been watching NASCAR Number History. I'll see you next time.